Have your company this Valentine's Day. The bombshells kept on coming last night. It was Jenny Morrison unleashed, the Prime Minister's secret weapon, opening up in an astonishing interview with Carl for last night's 60 Minutes. From her belief in an election victory to her early romance with the Prime Minister and that Grace Tame meeting at the Lodge, nothing was off limits. Have a listen.
I think Scott can give Australians the best of the life that they desire.
At 16, I heard you had 2 weeks off there at some point. Can you reveal to the nation what that was about?
He broke up because he was keen on another girl.
What?
Yes.
I was an idiot. It was a stupid decision.
I respect people that, want to change things, stand up for their beliefs and are strong, but I still think there's manners and respect.
Well, let's discuss with Northern Territory Senator Malarndirri McCarthy and 4BC's Scott Morrison. Nice to see you both this morning. Malarndirri, just listening to Jenny Morrison last night, do you think she could shift things for the Prime Minister?
Well, I certainly watched the program, Ali. I thought it was important to be able to see what actually does go on in the background in the life of the Prime Minister. I think there were a lot of things that were said that were probably good to hear and other things that were quite cringeworthy, actually, but it was an interesting session.
Now, when you say cringeworthy, I mean, there's one scene that comes to mind. I'm thinking you're perhaps talking about the ukulele?
Oh, that could be part of it, yeah. There was probably quite a few, actually.
Oh, what?
I knew Carl was listening. He couldn't help himself but tune in on this, could he?
No, of course. Hey, but I do want to ask, what did you make about her comments in regards to Grace Tame, talking about the need for manners and respect? Because I think, and just looking at sort of the breakdown of feedback that we've seen, a lot of people agree with her on that.
Look, it was obviously a question that was going to be asked at some point, and it was interesting to hear Mrs Morrison's reflections on that. I think, though, that we all know that there were greater issues at play here in terms of Grace Tame, and the Prime Minister has never said anything in relation to a lot of the requests that she's had to see changes in our country around the issues impacting women and safety.
Scott, your thoughts in regards to that, as to what Jenny had to say, and in response to what Malarndirri, that the Prime Minister hasn't listened to Grace Tame enough, and that's why she did what she did.
Look, Grace Tame's obviously very passionate about that. In terms of the interview last night, it's only going to help. It's not going to harm Scott Morrison's chances at the election, having Jenny out there talking about him, humanising him. That's what it's all about. But in terms of Grace Tame, look, a lot of my listeners would agree completely with Jenny Morrison about that. That that they expect if someone comes to your home that there is a certain politeness and manners being shown. But look, they'd also acknowledge that Grace Tame's been a strong advocate. But I watched the interview last night. There were some cringeworthy moments. I think about the ukulele in April Sun in Cuba, especially when if you're going to do one of those songs, you've got to remember what the words are.
It helps.
I think it does help, and I did feel sorry for the kids having to go through that. I've been in public life myself. I know my kids have had to go through those kind of situations, but not necessarily on national TV and in the trailer footage as well. So look, it's going to help him. No doubt about that. It will be a very tough election year for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, isn't it? It's going to be a tough, brutal couple of months ahead. Do you think it was enough to sort of shift the dial and to move the conversation in a new direction for the Prime Minister, Scott?
I think he's looking for a circuit breaker of some sort. I mean, it's been a pretty disastrous last couple of weeks for Scott Morrison and his government. I don't know necessarily it massively changes anything, but look, clearly part of what the government's strategy will be over the next 3 months, I guess it'll be now, is to make sure the comparison between Scott Morrison and Anthony Albanese. So look, they've got to humanise Scott Morrison, paint him not as perfect, but as a good man, but flawed. That's what Jenny Morrison was saying last night. But it's going to be a contest between Scott Morrison and Anthony Albanese. So this is how they're trying to frame Scott Morrison now. Let's see what happens with Anthony Albanese, because they've also tried to frame Anthony Albanese.
Well, I mean, that's the issue, isn't it, that Scott's got to overcome, this perceived issue he has with women. Just looking to the response to that interview on a Facebook page last night, Ma Sim says that, quite frankly, I agree with her comments. This is in regards to what she said about Grace Tame. With most voters fed up with controversy, while Cara Jane says manners and respect. Does your husband have any? Malarndirri, that's going to be the thing that he has to overcome, isn't it? This issue of how to get women to vote for him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We've seen that, Ali, throughout the whole term, but not just women. You know, the questions around the bushfires in Hawaii, I thought were quite important as well. There are so many people in those areas of New South Wales who are still suffering as a result of those bushfires, and we saw the results of that on the weekend with the by-election. So I think that there is so much more here that Australians will be questioning the Prime Minister on, and it won't be just about Grace Tame smiling or not smiling at him.
Well, that's it. I mean, we talk so much about the Canberra bubble, don't we, Malarndirri? And this was another point that Jenny Morrison made,
Yes.
is that what the politicians and the press gallery are focused on in Canberra is not what everyday Australians think. Does she have a point
That's
there?
right. Absolutely. You know, let's talk about back home in the Northern Territory. We're still trying to get rapid antigen tests out to our communities where COVID is just running amok. And, you know, if we're talking about an emergency, we're certainly needing that support in our communities up north. So I think that, yes, you're right, Ali, there is this Canberra bubble that we seem to surround ourselves in. But I think Australians out there, when they go to vote, that's not what they're thinking about. It's no Canberra bubble. They want to bust this bubble.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Hey, look, now we've seen, as you know, a lot of anti-vax sentiment right around the world. We saw protests in Canberra this past week, which actually ended with a road rage incident.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Emma. I'm so sorry. You.
I mean, that was between a local and a protester in town for the protests. We saw truck envoys in Canberra, in Canada as well, I should say. But I want to talk about the unusual methods deployed by police in New Zealand to break up a protest march, playing James Blunt, Baby Shark and others on the loudspeakers. This Malarndirri, the idea was you play Baby Shark and everyone can't cope and they leave. Would it have been enough for you?
Look, I was watching a lot of the, you know, the coverage over the weekend, and here we go.
Stop it! I get enough at home.
Stop it! I think it'd just get everyone dancing, wouldn't it? And it would just keep people there. In fact, I don't even think I'll leave the Today Show now. I'm just going to stay right here and dance all morning, Ali.
Come on, Scott. You know you want to.
Oh, I do. I'm Baby Shark. I like that. I felt bad for James Blunt, poor bloke.
No, he loves it. He's good. Hey, now look, guys, it's Valentine's Day. I'd like you all to know that after the show, I'm going to dash home, going to lay like a trail of red rose petals, lead my husband Mike to a romantic candlelit dinner for two, or to the sound of maybe a little Barry White. I mean, yeah, no, that is not going to happen. But Malarndirri is love in the air for you.
Oh, yeah, totally. Every single day, Ali. Every single day.
Scott, I mean, deep down, are you a bit of a romantic?
Oh yes, look, the big Valentine's breakfast straight after this show today. I got bagged last year because my present to my wife was these restored cattle brands from the farm. So they said that's just terrible. So there's a surprise gift waiting for it, but breakfast in about an hour's time, I count.
Cattle brands. Oh,
That's romantic.
gee whiz.
Very Queensland.
Very like 1800s. Brand, what's yours? Anyway, just going to leave me with that thought all morning, Scott. Thanks.
Oh my goodness.
We don't know what to say.
Nah.
Lovely. Well, you enjoy your Valentine's Day, however it's going to be spent, guys.